Fuang Bin's team has successfully located the mission target. Unexpectedly, right from the start, they nearly faced annihilation. Moments ago, Fuang Bin and his team arrived at the eastern outskirts, in the village of Thach Ton. Peering at the clues provided by the military, he murmured, "Perhaps Thach Fong is hiding in the village near this island. I believe he might be preparing to escape by sea under the cover of night," said Tru Tuyat Mai, her eyes scanning the military intel. Astonished, how can this address seem so reliable? The military handing this mission to the school must be due to a shortage of manpower in the underground. Fuang Bin stroked his chin, pondering, "I fear it's not as simple as that. This mission was supposed to belong to Tran too, but now it has surfaced in the military's assignments. It could be linked to the death of the martial artist connected to the military." One person remarked, "Indeed, the military cannot be so incompetent as to be unable to deploy a second or third-rate martial artist." At this moment, Chu the Bin interjected, "You are not wrong. The military, on one hand, wishes to give newcomers a chance to hone their skills. On the other hand, it serves as a warning. Some new martial artists, with just a smattering of ability, feel they belong to a privileged class, superior to others, and are quick to commit violence, bullying the weak. They completely disregard the lives of others. The military and Tran 2 assigning these tasks to 5 senior students is to remind you all that no matter how high a martial artist status, they must bear the consequences of their actions." Fuang Bin reflected deeply. Indeed, the power of martial artists should not be underestimated. Even the strength of a low-level martial artist can significantly impact society. The martial arts schools have a vast number of martial artists, which allows people to understand the balance of power and responsibility through these tasks, truly aligning with the worldview of this realm. Soon after, Fuang Bin began to strategize. "During the day, this place is crowded. We must be cautious to avoid negative repercussions. Just like last time, we should wait until nightfall to search." At that moment, Tru Tan spoke up, "I believe we need not wait until night. Acting during the day might be more advantageous." Fuang Bin was taken aback. "What do you mean by that?" Tru Tan explained. "During the day, the townsfolk are at work, leaving no one at home, which would cause less uproar. Moreover, the target is likely to flee by sea at night, so the chances of him being in a fixed position waiting are quite high. We have a large number of people, searching everywhere would draw too much attention. Instead, we should head directly to the location provided by the military to investigate the clues. If the target appears, we can strike together." Listening to Tru Tan's analysis, Fuang Bin smiled and nodded in agreement. The previous mission was indeed initiated by him discovering the target. Though his strength is not formidable, he remains calm and is skilled at observation. A stark contrast to Duong Tung Nyan. "It seems our team has gained a trusted ally." With that, Fuang Bin resolved to set out immediately. Follow Tru Tan's orders. The group hastened toward their target location. They arrived at a makeshift house by the seaside in the village of Thach Ton. Fuang Bin assigned tasks. "Chu Nok, Vu Kak Bang, Trong Hao, you 3 stay outside and keep watch. Don't let anyone pass. Duong Tung Nyan, you go knock on the door." Duong Tung Nyan was taken aback, surprised that Fuang Bin chose him to volunteer. Fuang Bin smiled brightly. "Your strength in this team is commendable. We cannot afford to have you falter the moment the door opens. Besides, we work according to our abilities. Those who volunteer will surely be rewarded handsomely." Duong Tung Nyan scratched his nose in embarrassment. As expected, in critical situations, I must rely on myself. Just then, Trong Hao asked Fuang Bin, "Professor Chu isn't here, should we proceed?" Fuang Bin sighed, a reluctant smile forming. "We must continue, there's no time to hesitate now. It seems my suspicions were not unfounded." A few figures lay in ambush at the door. Duong Tung Nyan advanced, knocking firmly. "Is anyone home? Your trash has been thrown at our doorstep. Come clean it up." Silence answered him, so Duong Tung Nyan persisted. "Don't just stay quiet. I know you're in there." Silence hung in the air. Duong Tung Nyan turned to Fuang Bin, who nodded, signaling him to continue. With a determined fist, Duong Tung Nyan banged on the door, his voice booming, "Open up. If you don't, I'll call the police." At that moment, a voice finally echoed from within. "I haven't thrown anything out. This situation never existed before you arrived. Just open the door." Suddenly, Fuang Bin felt a wave of ominous energy pulsating through the air. He shouted, "Get back," and pulled Duong Tung Nyan away. In the next instant, there was a loud bang as the door flew open, creating a gaping hole. A man rushed out from inside, none other than their target. Thach Fong. With incredible speed, Thach Fong dashed forward, escaping before anyone could react. heading straight for the shoreline. Quick, chase him, Fuang Bin shouted urgently. To their astonishment, the teacher from Manhwa was so cold-hearted, forcing even a high-ranking criminal to face off against students. Just moments ago, their target had made a break for it, intent on fleeing, and the group swiftly pursued him. Duong Tung Nyan, with one swift strike, Thatch Fong, you cannot escape. Thatch Fong ducked to evade, and just then, Fuang Bin appeared, blocking his path. Fuang Bin aimed a kick, but Thatch Fong dodged with remarkable agility. He had no intention of lingering with Fuang Bin and the others, pressing onward toward the beach. Yet, True Tuyat Mai had been waiting at the beach for a long time. She stood ready, wielding a long staff, prepared to strike. Thatch Fong slammed to a halt, glancing at the crowd closing in on him, his mind racing. Looks like they're students from Vodai, not military nor Chantu. I've underestimated their experience. But it's for the best. A group of students has come to take on the task, proving their strength is lacking. Still, there's no need to prolong this. If someone is chasing from behind, it will spell trouble. With that thought, he charged towards True Tuyat Mai, who was preparing to attack. Thatch Fong flashed a crooked smile, his right hand gathering energy. Fuang Bin, strong and swift, shouted loudly, Tuyat Mai, get out of the way. True Tuyat Mai was startled and quickly leapt aside. Thatch Fong continued to dash towards the beach. However, Duong Tung Nyan was not pleased. Why did you make Tuyat Mai dodge? The target is almost within our grasp. Fuang Bin's face darkened as he replied. This target is exceptionally strong. If she doesn't dodge, Tuyat Mai will die. That guy has 12 vials of energy. He has completed the crafting of his staff. True Tan and the two others were taken aback. That can't be. I remember the mission interface stating it was top tier. First class. Duong Tung Nyan shouted back. Don't be afraid, even if he's second tier. It's still just the beginning of second tier. If we fail, we'll lose points. We can't let him escape. Thatch Fong was momentarily stunned upon hearing this. Why doesn't anyone know I'm second tier? Immediately after, a sneer flickered in his heart. The students of the five greats are really this weak? It seems their time has come to an end. Fuang Bin was equally puzzled. Clearly, the mission description had stated it was top tier. So how had it suddenly turned into second tier? Could it be that the school's mission system was malfunctioning? At that moment, Thatch Fong had reached the riverbank, grinning as he said, good thing I'm clever, I prepared a boat to escape. Just then, Thatch Fong was jolted into alertness. He halted abruptly, and in the next moment, a terrifying wave of energy erupted from within the boat. Thatch Fong was alarmed. The energy is too strong. His legs buckled involuntarily. Thatch Fong stared incredulously into the boat. What level of energy is this? 4th tier, 5th tier, and yet it continues to rise. It's even 6th tier. The breath from the boat gradually receded, and drenched in sweat, he gritted his teeth. A powerhouse and 5 older students have all appeared here. HMPH. It means they're honing their skills against me. At this moment, Thatch Fong regained his composure. After all, there's no escaping this time, so I might as well take them on head-on. The others, seeing Thatch Fong suddenly stop, felt a wave of suspicion. Simultaneously, Fuang Bin sensed the energy fluctuations emanating from the boat. His brows furrowed suddenly. This energy belongs to Professor Chu. He's forcing the target to engage with us. The teachers at Vodai are truly cold-hearted. They've witnessed enough life and death to care more for their own survival than for the lives of others. If the weak among this team are injured or killed, it could provoke the powerhouse to elevate their strength in their eyes. That's worth it. Thus, Professor Chu is using energy to compel the target to fight us. But if the target is pushed into a corner, if he kills one person, it's a break-even, too. And it's a profit. Then, if I must perish, I'll take a few down with me. Just moments ago, Thatch Fong had dashed to the edge of the sea. Yet, he was forced back by the oppressive energy of Chu the Bin. Turning, Thatch Fong faced those pursuing him, preparing to drag a few down as he fell. Fuang Bin gritted his teeth, saying, if we can complete this mission, I will definitely seek out Chu the Bin to settle the score. Can we really contend with a second-rank fighter? If we lose, not only is there no reward, but we could also lose our lives. Fuang Bin said earnestly, regardless of the outcome, we must press on. Do not panic just because he is a second rank. As long as we don't get picked off one by one, we still have a chance of victory. Fuang Bin continued to shout. Fall back, Duong Tung Nyan, True Tuyat Mai, flank with me. At his command, everyone quickly halted. The 3 of them surged forward. Thatch Fong observed their charge, thinking to himself, these 3 must be the strongest among the students. The young man in the center is clearly the leader. This won't be easy to deal with. Then, let's target the young girl first. With that thought, he turned and charged at True Tuyid Mai. She shouted defiantly, "Don't underestimate me." In an instant, she swung her staff, but all that followed was a dull thud. The staff was seized by Thatch Fuang. True Tuyid Mai struggled to pull it back, but it remained unmoved. Fuang Bin and Duang Tung Nyan circled around behind Thatch Fuang, leaping into action. Sensing their approach, Thatch Fuang felt his blood and energy coalesce in his left hand. He abruptly unleashed his force, knocking True Tuyid Mai's hand away. Then he leapt to evade Fuang Bin's kick while raising his left hand to intercept Duang Tung Nyan's attack with his staff. Wow, such quick reflexes. Those watching from afar felt a wave of worry. This doesn't look good. Should we jump in to help? True Tan suggested after a moment. Wait, let's follow the captain's instructions, Duang Tung Nyan exclaimed, slamming his fist against the ground. Thatch Fuang then leapt, sending True Tuyid Mai flying. Seizing the opportunity, Fuang Bin sprang up behind Thatch Fuang, his energy rapidly concentrating at his toes. Watch me deliver a kick. Thatch Fuang planted his staff into the ground and immediately retaliated with a kick of his own. With a resounding thud, Thatch Fuang's shoe burst apart, blood splattering forth. Startled, he quickly stepped back a few paces to create distance. Feeling a sharp pain in his left foot, he was taken aback, not expecting such power from this young man's kick. At that moment, Tang Tung Nan suddenly seized a sword and struck directly at the back of Thatch Fuang's neck. Unfazed, Thatch Fuang countered immediately, swinging his staff to block the assault. Then, with a sudden surge of strength, he sent the sword flying. It was truly an astonishing display of power. Tang Tung Nan's hand went numb from the impact. Before he could even react, Sha Feng swung his staff once more. The staff struck hard against his left arm. A sharp crack echoed, and in an instant, Zheng Tong Yan's left arm broke. He quickly clutched his arm and stumbled back. At that moment, Fuang Bin leapt into the air. He seized the falling sword and, in one fluid motion, brought it down. The blade instantly severed Sha Feng's left arm while he still clutched his staff. The mission details had been flawed. The target turned out to be a level 2 martial artist. And Fuang Bin and his team found themselves at a disadvantage. Seizing the opportunity, Fuang Bin delivered a swift strike that cut off one of Sha Feng's arms. Immediately after, he pivoted and aimed for Sha Feng's neck. Just as the sword was about to descend, Sha Feng unexpectedly spun around, using his severed arm to block the blade, then grasped the back of the sword with his right hand. He had wedged the sword into his own severed arm. Such resilience left Fuang Bin genuinely shocked. Unable to evade, Sha Feng had borrowed the sword's strength, controlling the enemy's weapon at the least possible cost. Sha Feng possessed an abundance of practical combat experience. Fuang Bin urgently called for support. Friends watching from the sidelines rushed in, attacking Sha Feng in a frenzy. Observing Sha Feng's isolation against 4 opponents, Fuang Bin couldn't help but think the gap between level 1 and level 2 was indeed immense. Yet, it wasn't hopeless. At this moment, Sha Feng had lost an arm, and his leg was injured. Surely, victory was within reach. However, Sha Feng wore a fierce grin. He pressed his hand to the ground, laughing shakily. This time, I was too complacent. Who would have thought I would be defeated by a bunch of kids like you? Just as he finished speaking, Sha Feng abruptly reached out and seized Zheng Tong Yan's wrist, howling madly, "Even if I die, I will drag one of you down with me." Zheng Tong Yan panicked. "Oh no, he wants to die with me. But I'm not ready to die yet." Thus, Zheng Tong Yan shouted, "Fuang Bin, save me!" In that critical moment, Fuang Bin acted just in time, and all that was heard was a sound. Sha Feng's eyes immediately lost their light. His body began to sway, and ultimately, to the horrified gazes of everyone, he collapsed to the ground with a thud. Zheng Tong Yan's eyes widened in fear, while Fuang Bin gasped for breath. Collapsing onto the ground, he let out a sigh of relief. At last, he was dead. Chu Wei Hong cried out joyfully, "We won at last. It's wonderful, we're still alive." Meanwhile, True Tuyid Mai berated herself, sobbing, "I'm so sorry, it's all my fault. If I hadn't lost my weapon, everyone else wouldn't have been injured so badly." Fuang Bin reassured her, "There's no need to apologize, he was just a level 2 martial artist. Disarming him wasn't an impossible feat. Indeed, level 2 martial artists were incredibly strong. Thankfully, the 3 of you were able to restrain him, or we might have all perished." Li Tu and Trong Bin comforted True Tuyid Mai. Tru Khan and Trong Hao exchanged glances. Tang Tung Nan sat on the ground, his expression sour as he murmured, "If it weren't for Fuang Bin in this mission, I can't even imagine what would have happened. Indeed, we emerged victorious, but the healing potions alone drained us of dozens of blood points. Tang Tung Nan wiped the cold sweat from his brow. Don't look at me, I pretty heavily injured myself. At that moment, Fuang Bin gazed towards the boat anchored by the shore, his tone steeped in contemplation. It seems we need to have a serious discussion with Master Chu about why our level 1 target turned into a level 2. As warriors, especially as the team leader, one must never fear death. Otherwise, it could endanger everyone. At this very moment, Fuang Bin's team had nearly lost a member but succeeded in eliminating their mission target, Thatch Fong. However, Chu the Bin approached, arms crossed over his chest, declaring, "You all performed terribly. Out of 10, 3-wheeled weapons forged from alloy. Yet you still struggled so much. Moreover, this target was not particularly strong. Fuang Bin, alongside Tru Tuyat Mai or Tang Tung Nan, could have easily defeated it." Haha, Fuang Bin scoffed coldly. "Perhaps, Master, you've overestimated me. I want to ask you, why did the mission description of a level 1 warrior change to level 2? Is our mission system malfunctioning?" The other members were equally dissatisfied, voicing their agreement in unison. Chu the Bin remained unfazed, responding, "It could be a temporary breakthrough. Or perhaps the documentation was inaccurate. With a reward of 15 study points. Can't you deduce anything from that?" The team members fell silent, momentarily at a loss for words. At that moment, Fuang Bin turned to look at Chu the Bin and said, "But Master Chu, just now someone fled, yet someone else rallied their blood energy, forcing him to return and fight to the end. Was that not you?" Chu the Bin paused slightly, internally acknowledging Fuang Bin's keen insight in guessing his intention. However, he did not deny it, coldly stating, "Yes, it was me." Fuang Bin dusted off his trousers and stood up slowly. "Completing the mission is our responsibility. It is already unreasonable for you, as our guide, to offer no assistance and even create additional troubles for us." Then, with a serious expression, he continued, "Moreover, please do not make excuses. Thatch Fong was not a target that just recently advanced to level 2. The information itself was false." Chu the Bin frowned. "So what do you want?" Fuang Bin smiled. "I want double the mission reward. And the school's reward to be doubled as well. That totals to 60 study points." Chu the Bin huffed. "You truly are bold. The reward for a level 3 mission is not even at this level." Fuang Bin gazed at the general manager and spoke. "You are the one guiding the team. A level 6 warrior. Naturally, we wouldn't dare to act against you. However, this university is meant to uphold rules. Is it not? If you merely stand by and do nothing, then we have nothing to discuss. Yet, you intervened in the battle just now. Your actions nearly led to our demise. Doesn't this count as breaking the rules?" Chu the Bin fell silent. Fuang Bin continued, "Surely, you must have some say in the rewards, right? If not, it seems we'll need to appeal to the principal." The others around them nodded in agreement. Tang Tung Nan was sweating profusely. "Fuang Bin, you really are something. Everything you touch turns to success. Your negotiation skills are unmatched." Seeing Fuang Bin stand his ground, a slight smile crept onto Chu the Bin's lips. This kid truly knew how to stir up trouble. Nevertheless, as the team leader, advocating for the team's interests wasn't a bad move. He gently stroked his chin and said, "Very well, 6 credit points, but this is only for this occasion. Long live Teacher Chu." As soon as he finished speaking, cheers erupted around them. "Awesome. Fuang Bin is amazing." At this moment, Chu the Bin reminded Fuang Bin, "But remember, Fuang Bin, I must advise you on one thing. When it comes down to a real fight, don't overthink it. Worrying too much about your teammates' lives will only lead to your own downfall." Fuang Bin fell silent, realizing that he was right. This time, he had indeed hesitated. If Shach Feng's strength matched mine combined with Tang Tung Nan's, victory was certain. But upon discovering Shach Feng was merely at level 2, my thoughts turned to retreat. I hesitated to take risks. Then, Fuang Bin turned back and said, "I understand, thank you for the reminder. As the team leader, fearing death can indeed jeopardize everyone. Although the path to strength is fraught with peril. How can a warrior ever back down?" At that moment, Fuang Bin's team successfully eliminated Shach Feng, a level 2 warrior, completing their mission and returning to the Ma Vu experimental building. In the training room, teams were whispering among themselves about the mission's outcomes. Fuang Bin glanced at the system interface, feeling quite satisfied. The elixirs he had obtained, combined with this reward, had boosted his assets to 1.100 million. Earning money from missions was far quicker than from elixirs. Just then, an unexpected voice rang out. Zhao Loi and his group had returned. People began to murmur, mentioning they had lost one member and 3 were injured. It seemed Zhao Loi had been overly aggressive, taking on a level 2 mission. A young man, his head wrapped in bandages, trembled as he spoke. The instructors won't intervene, unless we're all dead. In the eyes of the academy, martial artists like us, who have never undergone a second bone enhancement, are expendable. They only rescue those deemed elite within the ranks. Just then, someone unexpectedly grabbed Zhao Lei by the collar, shouting furiously, "If it weren't for your insistence on choosing a second-tier mission, Lu Kongcheng wouldn't have died, and our team wouldn't be so severely injured." Zhao Lei bit his lip. Silent as a storm brewed within him. Another student lamented. Fuang Bin's team also encountered a second-tier martial artist, yet none of them perished. Witnessing this scene, Zhao Shui Mai and Zhao Qing exchanged glances. Sighing, it seems Fuang Bin was right. These so-called mission rewards are merely a price for survival. At that moment, Zhang Dane, still pale with fear, looked towards Captain Fuang Ding and said, "The academy doesn't force us to continuously undertake missions, do they? Why can't we rest a few more days?" The others turned their gazes towards Fuang Ding. With a helpless sigh, Fuang Bin replied, "No, we must seize this time to earn more rewards, to prepare for the second-tier missions ahead. The strong survive, the weak are cast aside. To retreat even slightly is to retreat entirely. To stop now is to withdraw." He then turned to everyone, asking, "Is anyone willing to back down?" Silence enveloped the group. Suddenly, Zheng Tong Yan proclaimed loudly, "Once we've entered the demon martial realm, it doesn't matter whether we retreat or press on, we must move forward. What's a little injury? I just need a piece of brittle bone to recover immediately." Fuang Bin couldn't help but chuckle in despair, though this person was somewhat reckless. His heart was undeniably noble. Zhao Shui Mai clenched her fists, resolutely declaring, "We are martial artists." The mood instantly shifted, enthusiasm blooming among the group. "That's right, we're all martial artists, how could we falter? Fear is not my style." "Captain Fuang Bin, what's the plan?" A second-tier mission with 2 small teams participating. Even the leaders from the investigation bureau have arrived. At this moment, within the training facility, Fuang Bin stood before the terminal accepting missions, with everyone gathered around, attentively watching as Fuang Bin announced, "For now, we'll recuperate while tackling the simplest first-tier missions to gather rewards. Once everyone is feeling better and is equipped with alloy weapons, we'll resume our second-tier missions." Thus, in the days that followed, Fuang Bin's team entered a fervent phase, continuously completing missions like a whirlwind, searching for missing children, helping cat cafes care for their felines, apprehending first-tier fugitives, and eliminating second-tier bounties. At this moment, having just completed a capture mission, Fuang Bin gazed at the sword in his hand. Reflecting on it, the damage dealt by the knife is certainly far more potent than that of the shoes. It is also much more fitting for this situation. At this moment, Tang Tung Nan gazes at Fuang Bin and remarks, "Fuang Bin, you indeed strike with a ruthless hand." Fuang Bin falls into silence. All of this must be exchanged for the lives of others. In the previous 7 missions, he has taken down 4 criminals. Adding to that, with 2 students from the academy, he has now killed a total of 6. How could my former self have imagined that I would become so merciless? Is it only through real combat training that one can truly mature? Within the training facility, Fuang Bin and the others gaze at the scoreboard displayed on the screen. They discuss that despite receiving double rewards from the 10 previous missions, we still rank second. No matter how hard we strive, the rewards for first-class missions remain painfully insufficient. Tang Tung Nan turns to Fuang Bin and says, "I speak the truth. Everyone has made great progress during this time. Perhaps it is time to take on a second-class mission?" Fuang Bin strokes his chin in contemplation, thanks to the system. His brittle bones have increased dramatically, averaging 1 new bone every 2 days. He has now reached a total of 47. If this continues, he will swiftly surpass 300 vitality. This level is significantly higher than many second-class martial artists. Even if he encounters a second-class martial artist, he can handle it alone. Moreover, everyone has made considerable advancements recently, especially Tang Tung Nan. Thus, Fuang Bin proposes, "Let us divide into 3 groups. True Tuyat Mai, Tang Tung Nan, the 3 of us will undertake a second-class mission. True Khan, Go Kak Bang, Trong Hao, you 5 will take on a first-class mission. Chu Wei Hong, Trong Bin, both of you are currently injured. For now, focus on reconnaissance and gathering information. We will go complete the mission. The credit reward will allocate 10% to both of you." Trong Bin and another young man beam with joy. If the whole team were to undertake the mission together, I might not even receive 5% of the credits. Besides, I need time to recuperate. Our captain is truly considerate. True Tuyid Mai inquires. Then what if we split into 2 groups? What will the instructor do? Tang Tung Nan retorts with irritation. I don't expect him to lend a hand anyway, he'll go wherever he pleases. Fuang Bin feels a bit helpless. It seems Tang Tung Nan still harbors resentment over the last incident involving Thatch Fong. The scene shifts as Fuang Bin and his 2 companions arrive at an abandoned building in Taejiang. Their mission target this time is a second-class cultist. True Tuyid Mai wipes the cold sweat from her cheek and says, "Hey, do we stand out too much like this?" At that moment, several others approach. Judging by their attire, they also seem to be students from Dai Hak Vu Dai. The leader, with green hair, raises a hand in greeting. I am Vong Weijun from Dongvu University. Hello, everyone, Fuang Bin politely replies. Hello, we are the new students from Mavu. We are the local martial arts student team from Taejiang, here to undertake a mission. Fuang Bin stood in shock. Undertake a mission? Are you all students from Dongvu? The young man with green hair explained. Indeed, the small martial arts school here lacks sufficient new students. Thus, the 3 Dongvu schools train together and take on missions. The others introduced themselves in turn. Fuang Bin pondered. The strength of this one seemed to hover around 250 qi and blood, comparable to Tang Tung Nan. So, this was the extent of strength for the strongest martial artists in this region. Understood, but he was puzzled. Why were there 2 teams here for the same mission? Could there be a glitch in the mission system? At that moment, the roar of engines approached, and several vehicles from the Trinco Bureau also arrived. Fuang Bin's suspicions deepened. Was there truly another leader? Did a second-tier mission require this many people? A woman with purple hair stepped out of the vehicle, surveying the crowd. Excuse me, which team is Ma Vu? What? You want us to abandon the mission? Are you joking? I want to see just how strong the new Ma Vu students are. At this time, a female leader from the Trinco Bureau disembarked, looking around as she inquired. Excuse me, which team is Ma Vu? Fuang Bin spoke up. We are Ma Vu. I am team leader Fuang Bin. The female leader frowned. Mr. Fuang, this is a difficult second-tier mission. You only have 3 members? The young man with green hair was astonished. You really accepted a second-tier mission? The Dongvu students gasped. Only 3 of you? There are no others. But our target is of the peak first tier. What on earth is happening? Is this a mistake? Fuang Bin shook his head in confusion. At that moment, the female leader spoke again. The situation is a bit complicated, let me explain. Thus, she glanced at the documents in her hand and clarified. Mr. Fuang, your mission target, Du Kim Tan, is second tier, and his strength has not been active in this area. He recently fled to Taejiang. Mr. Vong, your target, Trong Kai Kwang, is indeed first tier. However, due to a gathering of heretical cults, both mission targets happen to be in this building, making the mission significantly more dangerous than usual. The latest information indicates that there are at least 5 martial artists inside. Their ranks still unclear. Additionally, there are several dozen cultists. The Bureau has made arrangements and set up a perimeter outside. After hearing the female leader's words, one of the Dongvu students turned pale, while Fuang Bin appeared to grasp the situation. As long as we don't interfere with each other, we should be fine, right? Tang Tung Nan crossed his arms, speaking in a relaxed manner. If we're up for it, we can help each other a bit. Observing Fuang Bin and the others' calm demeanor, the Dongvu students were left bewildered, listening to the situation without a hint of concern. Are the Ma Vu people truly this confident? Are they really that powerful? At this moment, the young woman with purple hair called to the young man with green hair. I wish to speak with you privately for a moment. The green-haired youth was taken aback. What? Do you want us to abandon our mission? The purple-haired woman replied. This is merely my personal suggestion. Inside, there are at least 1 peak first class and 1 second class, along with other cult followers. The mission of Ma Vu was actually issued by the military, far more perilous than our task at the Trinco Bureau. We initially intended for you to act together. This way, you could complete your first-class mission as well. Unexpectedly, they only sent 3 people. The Ma Vu students possess decent strength, but you are all geniuses of Dongvu. We cannot simply stand by and watch you recklessly throw yourselves into danger. So if possible, I hope you might consider withdrawing, or at least wait until they fail their mission, or until the second-class target is eliminated before you proceed. The green-haired youth suddenly interjected. Are the Ma Vu people really that strong? They're only first class too. The purple-haired woman responded. Data indicates that although Captain Fuang Bin is a brittle 3-time loser, he is indeed first class, so thank you for your kindness. The green-haired youth cut her off. I want to see the strength of the new Manhwa students. Luke Mao interjected. I want to witness the strength of the Manhwa newcomers myself. The purple-haired girl looked at Luke Mao with concern. We have a protective perimeter. The cultists likely won't dare to pursue us. If there is any danger, we must retreat immediately. Survival is paramount. A short-haired male student anxiously spoke up. Vong, do we really have to go in? We've been dragged into this mess with the Manhwa people. Luke Mao resolutely replied. If they dare to enter with just 3, we cannot afford to lose face. At that moment, someone suddenly pointed towards the large door ahead. Are they on guard against us? Just then, Tru Tuyat Mai also rushed in. In the blink of an eye, a man suddenly dashed out from within. Panic-stricken, the Dongvu students shouted. Someone's coming out. Isn't that our mission target? Trong Kai Kwang? At this moment, Trong Kai Kwang, in a state of sheer terror, shouted, You broke your promise. He then lunged forward, grabbing a Donggo student, striking wildly. Several people nearby rushed in to subdue him, but he was beyond control. That guy has gone mad. At this moment, the green-haired youth from behind tightly gripped his neck, and with a swift motion, Trong Kai Kwang was confined within a containment box. The Dongvu members were filled with confusion. He said we broke our promise. But we haven't done anything. What on earth is happening? The green-haired youth stood up, pondering. This guy was injured and terrified. A peak first class should not have fallen so easily at my hands. Suddenly, he recalled something, quickly turning to gaze towards the large door. What has he endured before crossing paths with us? Real combat is the finest path to elevate one's strength. The young man's power surged, effortlessly slaying a second-tier martial artist. At this moment, the blue-haired figure slowly opened the great door, and instantly, his pupils constricted. Just then, 2 Eastern Wu students approached and said, Brother Wang, we must leave quickly. If that second-tier guy returns, we're doomed. Lu Mao, slightly dazed, replied, Second tier? Are you referring to that man? The others followed Lu Mao's gaze. They beheld the head of Yao Jingcheng lying silently on the ground. Damn it, they gasped, astonished by the brutality. Could it be that while Brother Wang was speaking, the forces of Ma Wu had swiftly dealt with everything? The scene shifted to Feng Bing and his companions seated in a carriage. On the road back to Ma Wu, Feng Bing spoke up. Let's summarize the battle we just had. Silence fell upon the group. Zheng Tonggan suggested, you summarize first. The scene transitioned again, with Feng Bing and the others still in the carriage. En route back to Ma Wu, Feng Bing opened his mouth. Let's recap the recent battle. 2 fell into silence, and Zheng Tonggan urged, you summarize first. Feng Bing stroked his chin, seriously pondering. I'm considering whether I should switch to a heavier weapon, an axe or a hammer. Perhaps, to truly unleash power, one must wield a heavier weapon. This knife feels too light. Zheng Tonggan lay back on Feng Bing's seat in disbelief. Too light? Aren't you the one with fragile bones? Your hands are that strong? Zhao Shui Mai gazed out the window, her expression tinged with doubt. Just moments ago, Zheng Tonggan had dealt with a first-tier martial artist and other cultists. Hence, she hadn't seen what transpired on Feng Bing's end. I was keeping watch at the door for the Eastern Wu men, so I had a clear view. Just now, Feng Bing hadn't merely fought Yao Jincheng, he had been depleting his vital energy. In a matter of seconds, Feng Bing struck over 50 blows, each one exploding with vital energy. His opponent was a second-tier martial artist, with vitality not to be underestimated. Yet, Feng Bing had relied on dozens of strikes to drain his opponent's energy completely. Zhao Shui Mai questioned, Feng Bing, didn't you exhaust all your vital energy? We are all first tier, and even if you're thrice as fragile, that gap is far too vast. A cold sweat broke out on Feng Bing as he scratched his head, explaining, this actually reached my limit. Since you all had contained the other foes, I could act without worry. In his heart, Feng Bing sighed in relief. Just now, he had squandered too much vital energy, and Zhao Shui Mai had witnessed it. Fortunately, he had managed to defuse the situation in time. Soon after, Feng Bing redirected his thoughts. But if we possess enough resources, theoretically speaking, replenishing our vital energy is truly limitless. In battle, once the energy runs low, we can immediately use the system to restore it. Therefore, as long as I can match my energy against others, I'm certain I cannot lose. At that moment, Duong Tung Nham commented that those acolytes were truly weak. I still want to test my skills against that second-rate guy a few more times. As for Dong Ngio's target, Trong Kai Keen, compared to before, he was indeed far inferior to Thatch Fuang. Moreover, when he saw you for the second time, he had instantly slain the strongest among them. The situation back then was as follows: surrender the elixirs and precious items on you, and we will let you go. Thus, the earlier scene unfolded, with Trong Kai Keen shouting upon seeing the Dong Go group outside. You have no integrity. Duong Tung Nham continued. In my opinion, at that moment, we should have just killed him off without hesitation. A mischievous smile spread across his face. After all, in the end, the valuable things are still what we take away, right? Who would have thought those acolytes could be so feeble? True Tuyid Mai chuckled. Fuang Bin, you really care about those people from Dong Go? Fuang Bin casually replied that it was a trivial matter, hardly worth mentioning. Meanwhile, over by the old building, the Dong Go members were still busy tidying up, a few of them cheerfully chatting away. Do the Ma Vu group really care about us? They deliberately left targets for us and even helped us severely injure him. This time, we've struck gold. Who would have thought that a guy named Fuang Bin would turn out to be quite capable? Meanwhile, Luke Mao remained silent, perhaps pondering his own weakness. It truly isn't worth killing. As the scene shifted back to the vehicle, Duong Tung Nham confidently declared, Captain Dong Ngio's strike against Trong Kai Keen was indeed impressive. But if he's one of Dong Ngio's top 5 students, then there's nothing to worry about for the national exchange competition. Just then, a chime echoed, and their 3 phones buzzed simultaneously. It turned out to be the credit ranking notification. Currently, Fuang Bin had 132 points, and Trula had 128. True Tuyid Mai gasped in shock. So, we only led by a mere 4 points? The 3 exchanged knowing glances and then immediately turned to head towards the next mission location. We cannot let Trula catch up. We must secure our position at the top of the leaderboard. Excellent. It's time to exchange for divine equipment. At this moment, within the Ma Vu building, all class members stood in orderly lines. Hoang Tin announced, the 1-month deadline has ended. Now, we will announce the credit rankings of each team. The first team, Team Fuang Bin, has accumulated 186 points, claiming the top position and receiving an additional 100 credits. In total, there are 286 credit points. Fuang Bin sighed. What a pity. If we had completed the final task, our credits could have soared to 200. True Tuyid Mai broke into a cold sweat. We've done remarkably well already. Just be content with what we have. Trula amassed a total of 179 points, while the second-place team, Fu Trong Den, scored 150 points. Duong Tiu Man followed closely with 138 points. And lastly, Tran Van Hai's team trailed behind with 100 points. Over the past month, the accomplishments of all of you have been meticulously recorded by your instructor. Trula, in her impatience, caused the death of a team member. 30% will be deducted from your profits to compensate their family. Do you have any objections? Trula lowered her head, filled with self-reproach. None. Fu Trong Din and Duong Tiu Man completed their tasks while ensuring the safety of their members. Bearing the burden of captaincy, the Fuang Bin team employed a commendable strategy, dividing into 2 smaller teams to carry out their mission in parallel. Meanwhile, Tran Van Hai's team, with the lowest score, faced severe injuries among its members, leading to a fragmented spirit. Go home and reflect deeply on your own issues. After a month of undertaking missions, I believe everyone has gained numerous lessons and insights. Some sacrificed, some were injured, and some returned with resplendent achievements. Those who fought are the ones who have grown through each mission in real combat. Throughout this past month, the instructors have been assessing the abilities of each of you, to determine who among you is suited to join the battle preparation team for the upcoming event, the glory of our school. I need not elaborate on its significance. Now, I will announce the list of members selected for the battle preparation team based on the evaluation results. Fuang Bin, Trula, Fu Trong Den, Duong Tiu Man, Duong Tung Nham, True Tuyid Mai, Hua Nia Kai, and Li Chu Huk. Kim Loi is joining the battle preparation team. Shortly thereafter, Duong Fong picked up the documents and left. The students buzzed with excitement. Wasn't it supposed to be 10 people? It seems we're missing one. At that moment, Duong Tang approached Tran Van Hai and said, Tran Van Hai, I strongly advise you to switch to the Literature Institute. The path of martial arts does not suit you. Tran Van Hai immediately felt disappointment and hurt. Duong Tang continued, though your vigor and strength stand out in class. Your combat skills are decent. Yet, you lack the essentials of a true martial artist. A martial artist must possess the courage to fight. There is no need for hesitation. Your attitude during the mission left us deeply disappointed. The other students began to whisper among themselves. During the mission, he hesitated to strike the enemy, resulting in casualties among the members. He is the captain, and it is said that Tran Van Hai comes from a family of martial artists. His grandfather is even a master. Clearly, he possesses many resources and a high level of cultivation, yet he fails to protect his team members. Every encounter with the enemy makes him shrink back. I too feel he is unfit to be a martial artist. Fuang Bin pondered deeply. Tran Van Hai is a martial artist who has broken through his weaknesses for the second time. His strength is among the top 5 in class. However, his character is truly too feeble. Duang Su too was not mistaken. Perhaps he should transfer to the Literature Academy. After a moment of silence, Tran Van Hai exclaimed, Master Duang, I will strive harder. Please grant me another opportunity. I wish to join the battle preparation team. Master Tang smiled warmly. Thus, the final member of the battle preparation team is Tran Van Hai. The meeting concludes. Fuang Bin gazes at the display of metrics, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. After a month of undertaking missions, my credit has now reached 1.6 billion. Moreover, with the addition of some potions and weapons acquired from the tasks, currently, my asset value has reached 12.08 million. Marvelous. Thus, Fuang Bin made his way to the Ma Vu team area. An elderly man with white hair was playing with a walnut. Isn't this Fuang? The student? Do you wish to trade for something good this time? Fuang Bin replied. I have just enhanced my vitality. He desired to exchange for a heavier weapon, yet one that is also easy to carry. The demand seemed high. The elderly man with white hair rose. Follow me. He led Fuang Bin to the weapons depot, proudly declaring, Here, at the Ma Vu exchange, there's nothing you cannot trade. Then he pointed to a sword on the counter. What do you think of this blade? The young man executed a secret technique, employing the move, 3 inches unyielding to haggle, successfully trading for a divine weapon, while also earning the favor of the enchanting female teacher, obtaining a mid-grade battle strategy. The unlocks in this life are truly fascinating. At this moment, the elderly man with white hair led Fuang Bin to the weapons depot to select equipment. He approached a manager, proudly introducing, the golden beak sword is crafted from earthly alloys, weighing a staggering 32 pounds. With a length of 1.8 meters, it can be disassembled for easy transport. Fuang Bin stroked his chin in contemplation. This sword indeed meets all my requirements. At that moment, the elderly man with white hair exclaimed, This item is so good that I shall only take 320 credits from you. Fuang Bin immediately spat out a mouthful of blood from his nose. 320 credits is nearly equivalent to 1 million in cash. Fuang Bin counted on his fingers. That's far too expensive. I only want 150 credits. The elderly man with white hair clenched his fists in anger. Have you lost your mind? Haggling doesn't work like this. Fuang Bin's eyes widened, his expression pitiful as he said, Teacher Li, I don't have many credits left on my card. Can't you be a little more accommodating, then? The two engaged in a lengthy haggling war. 10 minutes later, both were drenched in sweat, panting heavily. Subsequently, the elderly man with white hair brought over a box containing the golden beak sword. Scolding as he said, Fuang, my student, I can't take this anymore. Take your sword and leave quickly. The elderly man grasped Fuang Bin's hand. Trembling with rage, Fuang Bin immediately gave a thumbs up. Grinning with satisfaction, he remarked, Teacher Li, you're truly kind. I will return next time. After Fuang Bin departed, the elderly man with white hair wiped the sweat from his brow. This kid really knows how to bargain. Trading an old weapon for 90 credits. Adding 4.5 million in cash. Just enough to cover the costs. Watching Fuang Bin's retreating figure, the elderly man with white hair pondered. The top 5 students struggle to acquire cultivation resources. It's only natural they save credits. He smiled as he pushed open the door, even resorting to using cash. Perhaps he truly has very few credits left. Yet, in the very next moment, student Fuang exchanged a total of 50 ordinary elixirs, leaving him with just 11 credits after deducting the 150. The elderly man with white hair was so furious that foam spewed from his mouth. This is hardly being frugal at all. Not poor at all. It seems credits are meant for trading elixirs to resell. In the training room of the practice building, Fu Trong Din stared enviously at the golden blade in Fuang Bin's hand. This guy. It's only been a few days since we last met, and he's already swapped for a new weapon. And it's even a terrestrial-grade alloy. Fuang Bin immediately explained with a bright smile. Today is the day of the class representative exchange. If I don't prepare well, wouldn't that be disrespectful to all of you? Right, true la, Tiu man? Duang Tiu man placed her hands on her hips and confidently declared, Fuang bin. Don't think you're the only one improving. Trula also tightened her grip on the staff in her hand and charged towards Fuang bin. After this training period, I've become stronger. This time, the class representative chosen by Fuang bin is mine. Moments later, Fuang bin looked at Trula lying on the ground and remarked, I haven't even used my new knife yet. I said no crying, and yet here you are, crying. Soon after, Fuang bin smiled again at Duang Tiu man. Tiu man, are we not fighting this time? Duang Tiu man shivered all over, quickly turning her head away, her arms tightly hugging her chest, pretending not to care. I never said I wanted to be the class representative. The scene shifted as Lu Fengniu called Fuang bin and Tru Tuyat Mai to her dormitory. Less than a month remained until the freshman exchange competition. Currently, your strength is still too weak. She then turned to Tru Tuyat Mai. Go back and cultivate with the second-tier blood chi elixir. Accelerate the strengthening of your bones. 1 pill every 2 days, if you can reach peak level 1 before the exchange. There's still hope. Tru Tuyat Mai's face immediately went blank. 1 pill every 2 days? Fuang bin also broke into a cold sweat, raising his hand to touch the second-tier blood chi elixir. The market price has soared to 700.000. Even if exchanged for credits, it would still cost 20 credits per pill. Adding it all up, the total expense for a month would exceed the cost of my flower knife. Tru Tuyat Mai pondered for a moment, then clenched her fist, resolutely stating, I understand. I will definitely complete the strengthening of my lower bones before the exchange and reach peak level 1. Fuang bin couldn't help but ask, and what about me? Teacher? Lu Fuang Nhu yawned. You want to learn higher combat techniques, don't you? Exactly. Fuang bin scratched the back of his head and replied, I've already reached the peak first tier. My lower limbs have been trained. My chi and blood have reached 300 calories. And my closing technique has reached the combat level, while my spinning leg technique has also reached minor success. Lu Fuang Nhu said calmly, I know. Take a look at these techniques, the middle grade Bi-Mon footwork and the middle grade Bi-Mon blade technique. With that, he stifled a yawn and ascended the stairs. Previously, you learned the basic spinning footwork, so there's no need to review the documents. The mid-tier combat strategies have a much more detailed design theory. The moves are also far more complex. If you have any questions, just wait until I wake up to ask. Fuang bin stared blankly at the book in his hands. Who named this fighting method? It sounds so childish. Lu Fuang Nhu explained. It's called Bao Huyat. Quang Dao was created by Governor Trong from Namjiang at the 6th level. I had the chance to speak with him. He can teach you. Fuang bin gazed at the secret manual, pondering for a moment. The Bao Huyat Quang Dao, in simple terms, is a continuous explosion of blood energy, culminating in 7 strikes. The most powerful strike can unleash 7 blows in succession, each one stronger than the last.